Every trap in history that actually worked was never built to look like a trap. The ones that fail announce themselves a locked door, a raised fist, an obvious threat. The ones that succeed arrive on a tray, wrapped in ribbon, delivered with a smile and the 4 words that disarm almost anyone: "This is for you." The moment someone hands you something with an open hand, your guard drops. It's automatic. Threats put you on alert. Kindness puts you at ease. And that single difference in how your brain responds is exactly why the most effective form of control in human history has never needed force. Force creates resistance. Force creates someone who remembers being cornered and starts planning their exit the same day. Generosity does something force can never do. It makes the person being controlled grateful for it. The object itself can be completely real. The debt attached to it usually isn't written down anywhere. And that's the part almost nobody checks before they say yes. Here's the test that matters more than anything printed on the gift tag. A real gift leaves you with more freedom than you had before you accepted it. A gift built to control you leaves you a little more watched, a little more responsible, a little more afraid to disappoint somebody, and you usually can't explain why. You'll know which one you're holding the moment you try to set a boundary. Someone who gave you something honestly will let you say no without flinching. Someone who gave you something as an investment will react a flash of hurt, a reminder of the price tag, a coldness that wasn't there 5 minutes ago. That reaction is the part of the transaction they never intended you to see. It's the proof that the request was baked into the gift from the beginning. There are 6 of these. The first one shows up early, usually while you're still excited about a new person in your life. The last one is the most dangerous of all 6, because by the time you'd recognize it, you might be defending the very person who built it. Let's start with the one that arrives the fastest. Trap 1. Too much. Too soon, Marisol meets a man named Daniel at a mutual friend's barbecue. They exchange numbers. Within 11 days, he's paid off a $2,200 dental bill she mentioned once in passing, sent a designer bag to her office just because, and booked a long weekend in Tulum for the 2 of them. Her co-workers think she's the luckiest woman they know. She feels chosen. Lucky, even. Like the universe finally handed her something good. 6 weeks in, Daniel asks why she took 40 minutes to answer a text. He wants to know who she was with on Saturday. When she hesitates to introduce him to her sister so soon, he goes quiet for 2 days. Then says, "I guess I just thought what we had was more serious than that." He never raises his voice. He just reminds her, gently, "I've gone out of my way for you." Here's what actually happened. Daniel didn't build trust with Marisol over time. He purchased the appearance of closeness in advance, and now he's collecting on it. A gift that's too large for the relationship's age isn't proof of character. It's a shortcut around the process, where character is normally revealed the years of small moments where you watch how someone behaves under pressure, in disagreement, in boredom. Skip that process, and the giver ends up feeling entitled to information and access they never actually earned. Notice something else in Marisol's story. Nobody made her explain her Saturday. She started doing it voluntarily, because somewhere in the back of her mind, a quiet accounting had already begun comparing what she'd received against what she now felt she owed. That accounting is the actual mechanism of this trap, not a demand. A recalculation you perform on someone else's behalf, without ever agreeing to be the accountant. There's a version of this trap that has nothing to do with romance. 2, it shows up in business the same way. A brand new investor offers a founder more money than the company is actually worth, faster than any due diligence would normally allow, with almost no questions about the plan. The founder feels validated. Someone finally believes in the vision. 18 months later, that investor is sitting in board meetings making decisions about hiring, direction, and strategy that were never part of the original agreement, because the size of the check quietly became the size of their authority. The test is simple. Slow it down. Say, "This is really generous, but I'd rather we get to know each other more before something this big." Watch what happens next. A sincere person adjusts without complaint. A person running this play gets wounded, defensive, or subtly punishing because you just refuse to let the relationship move at the pace they were counting on. Never let the size of a gift decide how much you trust someone. Trust is supposed to be slow. If a gift is trying to speed it up, that's not affection. That's leverage, arriving early. It's worth saying clearly, not everyone who gives quickly is doing this on purpose. Some people are simply generous by nature, and generosity without patience can look identical to manipulation from the outside. The difference isn't in the gift itself, it's entirely in what happens the moment you ask for room to breathe. A genuinely generous person has nothing riding on your immediate gratitude. The person running the oversized leap has everything riding on it, because the whole plan depends on you accepting the shortcut before you've had time to notice it was won. Trap 2. The gift with an audience. Some people already understand you'd say no if they asked you in private, so they make sure you're never given a private moment to answer. At his own graduation party, Tobias watches his uncle stand up mid-toast and announce in front of 40 relatives and a phone already recording for the family group chat that he's buying Tobias a car because this family takes care of its own. The room erupts. His mother is crying. Someone hands him keys wrapped in a bow. He says thank you, hugs his uncle, smiles for the photo. 4 months later, the same uncle is furious that Tobias took a job 2 states away instead of the one at his company. After the car, he says, "I thought you'd at least consider it." In private, Tobias could have asked what the car meant, whether it came with any expectation, whether he even wanted that kind of gift from that particular relative. In public, none of those questions were available to him. The room had already decided what his reaction should look like, and the cost of pausing to think was far higher than the cost of just accepting it. That's the actual function of the audience. It isn't there to celebrate you. It's there to remove your ability to hesitate. There's a reason this works on almost everyone, and it isn't weakness. Humans are wired to care about how a group perceives them. It's a survival instinct that used to keep people inside a tribe that would protect them. A public gift hijacks that same instinct. It isn't really asking, "Do you want this?" It's asking, "Are you willing to embarrass 40 people who love you in order to protect a boundary they can't even see yet?" Most people will choose the boundary they can't see over the humiliation they can. This is how a public proposal becomes nearly impossible to decline, even when something feels wrong. It's how a boss's very public bonus, handed out in a team meeting, quietly turns into an unspoken expectation of unpaid weekends. It's how a parent announcing they paid off your loan in front of the whole family becomes something they bring up at every disagreement for the next decade. You're allowed to accept a moment gracefully and still investigate the terms later. "Thank you so much, I want to sit with this and talk more privately" is a complete sentence. And it costs you nothing but a few seconds of a room feeling slightly less triumphant than the giver planned. That's a cheap price. The alternative years of unspoken debt is not. There's a workplace version of this trap that rarely gets named. A manager stands up at an all-hands meeting and announces a surprise raise or a title change for one employee, framed as recognition for going above and beyond. The employee is thrilled until they realize the announcement quietly reset expectations for everyone watching. Now the unpaid extra hours that earned the recognition aren't exceptional anymore. They're the new baseline, and the public nature of the reward makes it almost impossible to ever scale back without looking ungrateful for something you never actually asked to be measured against. Trap 3. The gift that replaces the apology. This one doesn't arrive to start something. It arrives to erase something. Priya finds 3 texts on her boyfriend's phone that prove he lied about where he was the entire previous weekend. She confronts him. He doesn't explain. He doesn't apologize for anything specific. Instead, the next evening, He shows up with the exact sneakers she'd mentioned wanting 2 months earlier, and tickets to a show she'd said once she'd love to see. She's furious. Then she's touched. Then she's on her way to a concert. And somehow the conversation about the lying never actually happens. 2 months later, it happens again, a longer disappearance this time, and a bigger gift waiting on the other side of it. There's a real difference between a gift that follows real accountability and a gift that's offered instead of it. The first kind comes after someone names exactly what they did, sits through how it made you feel, and changes something concrete afterward. The second kind is a bribe wearing the outfit of affection, and it teaches the giver something dangerous: that repair is optional as long as the distraction that follows is expensive enough. Here's the part most people miss. The gift doesn't just distract you in the moment, it rewrites your memory of the argument. 6 months from now, when Priya tries to explain to a friend why she stayed, what she'll remember first isn't the lie, it's the sneakers. The mind is lazy, and it prefers a story with a warm ending over one that stays unresolved. The gift doesn't erase the wound. It just becomes the last thing you remember about it, which is almost the same thing. Ask one question before you let the good feeling override the real one. If this gift disappeared right now, would the actual problem still be solved? If the answer is no, if nothing changes except your mood, you're not being loved back into peace. You're being paid to stop asking questions. A simple, calm line works here. I appreciate this, but I still need us to talk about what happened first. Anyone who's actually sorry will be more afraid of the conversation not happening than of you not accepting the gift yet. This pattern doesn't only live inside romantic relationships. A parent who repeatedly cancels plans with their child, then shows up with an expensive present to smooth things over, is teaching that child a lesson that will follow them into every future relationship. That disappointment can always be converted into a transaction, and that love which shows up as an object is just as valid as love that shows up as changed behavior. Children raised on this pattern often grow into adults who accept the penance substitute without ever consciously noticing they're doing it, because for them, it isn't a trap. It's simply what an apology has always looked like. Trap 4. Free to receive, expensive to keep. This trap doesn't need any pressure at all. Sometimes the giver hands it over, smiles, and simply walks away, no strings attached, no follow-up demand. The trap isn't in what they want from you. It's in what the object itself demands from you, quietly, every month afterward. Julian's uncle gives him an old pickup truck for free, no catch. Genuinely, just a gift. Within 5 months, Julian has spent more on a transmission repair, new tires, and insurance than the truck was ever worth, and he's the one now expected to haul furniture for every cousin in the family. Because he's got the truck. Nobody asked him if he wanted that job. The truck came with it automatically. Now consider the modern version of this same trap. A free app or platform that hands you storage, tools, or an audience at no upfront cost, and quietly charges you in a different currency: your data, your attention, your inability to leave without losing everything you built on it. The price tag says 0, because the actual price was never designed to be printed anywhere you'd read it. There's a subtler version of this trap that has nothing to do with objects or platforms at all. It's the free advice from someone who's genuinely trying to help. A well-meaning relative offers to help plan your wedding for free, out of love. 8 months later, you realize you've lost control of the guest list, the venue, and half the budget decisions. Because every time you tried to make a different choice, it came with a small, guilty reminder of how much time they'd already put in. The advice was free. Your authority over your own event was the thing that quietly got spent. Both versions rely on the same blind spot. People calculate the sticker price of a gift and almost never calculate the cost of maintaining it. And refusing a request feels reasonable, but refusing an opportunity feels ungrateful, even when the underlying obligation is identical. Nobody says take responsibility for this. They say, I want you to have this. The words change, the workload doesn't. Before accepting anything free, ask what it will demand from you in a month, in a year, in an emergency. Who pays when it breaks? Who's responsible when it goes wrong? Can you walk away from it without losing something you've already built? If the giver gets uneasy the moment you ask about the future instead of thanking them for the present, that discomfort is information. One more version worth naming: the inherited responsibility disguised as an honor. A retiring board member hands their seat to a younger colleague, calling it the opportunity of a lifetime. Nobody mentions that the organization is quietly underfunded, that the outgoing member is leaving specifically because they saw the numbers, or that the new seat comes with personal liability the old member spent a decade carefully avoiding through relationships, and knowledge the new person doesn't have yet. The chair was free. Everything that comes with sitting in it wasn't. Trap 5. The gift that costs you your silence. Some gifts don't ask for gratitude. They ask for something quieter and far more expensive: your silence, and you usually don't notice you've spent it until someone else cashes it in. Owen works in finance. A colleague quietly forwards him information ahead of an internal announcement. Nothing dramatic, just an edge nobody else in the office has. Just don't mention where you heard it, she says, almost as an afterthought. He uses it, gets a small, satisfying win, feels sharp, trusted, plugged in. 8 months later, she needs him to sign off on a file he knows is wrong. She doesn't threaten him. She doesn't even raise the subject directly. She just mentions lightly how the two of them have always looked out for each other. That's the exact moment Owen understands the first favor was never generosity. It was a deposit, made specifically so a withdrawal could be requested later, after he was already too implicated to refuse cleanly. Notice the design of it. The first ask is always small enough that saying no would feel paranoid. That's not an accident, it's the entire strategy. Nobody opens with the file they actually need signed. They open with something so minor that refusing it would make you look difficult, distrustful, ungrateful for a harmless favor. By the time the real request arrives, you've already proven, once, that you're willing to bend. That single data point is worth more to them than the information itself ever was. Here's the actual test. Privacy protects something that genuinely belongs to you. Secrecy, in a trap like this, protects the giver from a consequence they'd rather hand off to you. Ask what would happen if the gift became visible tomorrow to your boss, your partner, someone whose judgment you actually trust. Could you explain it in one honest sentence? Would the person who gave it to you stand next to you and back up the exact same story? If your stomach tightens while you're answering that, believe your stomach before you believe their smile. The earlier you return a secret, the less leverage anyone gets to build on top of it. This is also how institutional corruption tends to actually begin, and it rarely looks dramatic in the moment. A city inspector gets waved through a free lunch by a contractor he's supposed to be evaluating objectively. Nothing was asked of him. Nothing was said. But 6 months later, when that same contractor's paperwork has a gap in it, the inspector finds himself hesitating in a way he wouldn't have hesitated a year earlier, not because anyone threatened him, but because some part of him has already quietly filed the lunch away as evidence that he and the contractor are, in some small way, on the same side now. Trap 6. The gift that buys your identity. This is the one almost nobody sees coming, because it never looks like a trap. It looks like the best thing that's ever happened to you. Isabel is a line cook with real talent and no connections. A well-known restaurateur discovers her, makes her head chef of his new place, puts her name in 3 food magazines within a year, introduces her to investors who wouldn't have taken her call 12 months earlier. Her old co-workers can't believe how far she's come. Her parents finally understand what she does for a living. She stops thinking of herself as some cook trying to make it, and starts thinking of herself as somebody. Then the small requests start. He asks her to quietly bring back a supplier known for underpaying workers. Just for now, optics matter later. He asks her to say nothing when he takes credit for a dish that was entirely hers in a press interview. Each time, she tells herself it's a small price for everything she's been given, and each compromise she accepts becomes the exact reason the next one feels normal. By the time he asks her to do something that actually crosses a line she cares about, she realizes she can't say no cleanly anymore, because refusing doesn't just cost her a job. It costs her the entire identity she built on top of his approval. That's what makes this trap different from the other 5. It doesn't just give you something, it gives you a new self, constructed on land you don't personally own. And once your confidence, your income, your reputation, and your sense of who you are all run through one person's continued approval, that person isn't supporting your life anymore. They're holding the switch. There's a quiet test that reveals this trap faster than anything else. Picture the version of you before this person entered your life. Not the Ursum, not the job title, the person. Do you still recognize her? Does she still have opinions she'd defend in a room where it cost her something? Or has she slowly been replaced by someone whose opinions are always, conveniently, the same as the person who built her platform? The scariest part of the crown isn't losing what you gained. It's forgetting who you were before you gained it. This doesn't mean you should refuse every mentor, every promotion, every door that opens, because someone powerful believed in you. It means you build your own ground underneath the opportunity while you still can. Learn the actual skill behind the title, not just the title. Keep relationships that existed before the opportunity did. Save enough that disagreement doesn't feel like extinction. And decide now, before any pressure ever arrives, what the one thing is you will not do to keep it. Decide that today, because if you wait until you're standing in the room being asked, fear will answer the question for you, and fear is a terrible negotiator. Watch, too, how someone reacts the moment you start becoming a little more independent of them. A person who genuinely wants good things for you will be glad to see you need them less over time. A person who quietly built you as an asset will treat that same independence as betrayal. That single reaction tells you, more clearly than anything else, which one you've actually been dealing with. The cruelest version of this trap is the one that happens in families rather than industries. A parent who fully funds one child's education, home, and lifestyle while quietly requiring total agreement on every major life decision in return isn't parenting anymore. They're managing a long-term asset with a heartbeat. The adult child may spend decades believing they're simply close to their family, never noticing that every independent choice they've ever made was one their parent happened to approve of first. The crown, in this version, doesn't come with a title or a magazine feature. It comes with a house, a car, and a permanent unspoken audit of every decision that follows. Bringing it together, look at all 6 again, and notice none of them were ever really about the object. The first buys closeness before trust has earned the right to exist. The second buys your public yes before you've had a single private moment to think. The third buys your silence about a wound that was never actually treated. The fourth hands you tomorrow's workload wrapped as today's gift. The fifth buys your complicity, quietly, in advance. And the sixth buys the person you become. Every one of them performs the exact same move underneath the surface. They change the relationship before you ever agreed to the change. Which means the useful question was never, why is this person being so generous with me? People can invent a genuinely beautiful reason for almost anything, and sometimes they even believe it themselves. The useful question is this: who am I expected to become after I accept this? Quieter, more available, more forgiving, more discreet, more loyal, on command. If you can still say no next week with no penalty attached, that was a gift. If you can't, you already know, deep down, what it actually was. None of this means becoming someone who flinches at kindness. That would hand every manipulator a second win by making you incapable of receiving anything real. Most gifts are exactly what they look like. Most generosity has no invoice hiding behind it. The goal was never suspicion. It's the willingness to pause for 3 honest seconds, especially in the moment your gut already flagged something before your mind caught up to it. There's one more distinction worth carrying with you, because it's the one that actually protects the good relationships in your life while it exposes the bad ones. A healthy giver welcomes your questions because they have nothing to protect from an honest look. A manipulative giver treats your questions as an accusation because the questions are the one thing their arrangement can't survive. That reaction, not the gift, not the smile, not the story they tell about their own generosity, is always the real answer. And if you're someone who gives generously yourself, a parent, a mentor, a partner, a friend, who likes to take care of people, this isn't an argument against generosity. It's a filter for keeping yours clean. Before you give something significant, ask yourself the same question you'd want asked of you. Am I giving this because I want this person to have something good, or because some part of me wants something back that I haven't said out loud? If you can hand something over and mean it just as much whether or not it's ever acknowledged again, your generosity has nothing to hide. If part of you is quietly keeping score, the person on the receiving end will eventually feel it, even if they can't name what they're feeling. The healthiest gifts are the ones the giver could forget about entirely and still feel exactly the same way about the person they gave them to. Because here's the part worth remembering the next time something arrives, wrapped a little too perfectly. A real gift can survive your questions. It can survive you slowing down, asking what it means, even saying not yet. The only kind of gift that can't survive that pause is the kind that needed you to say yes before you had time to think. Notice, too, that not one of the 6 tests in this video asked you to become colder, harder, or less trusting as a person. Every single one of them just asked you to buy yourself a little time, a pause before the yes, a question before the gratitude, a moment to check what's actually being asked of you underneath the wrapping paper. That pause has never once destroyed a relationship worth keeping. It has only ever exposed the ones that were never built to survive it in the first place. So the next time someone hands you something with a warm voice and an open hand, don't rush to decide whether it's good or bad. Ask the one question that protects you every single time. What happens to my freedom the moment I say yes? Answer that honestly, and you'll never need to memorize all 6 of these. You'll simply recognize one the moment it's standing in front of you. If this changed how you'll look at the next gift someone hands you, tell me which one of the 6 hit closest to home, and if you want the follow-up on how to actually rebuild trust after you've walked away from one of these, that video is waiting for you next.